Okay, hi. I wanted to go over a few of the fantastic features that are in the simpler instrument since we're playing with that this week. You don't have to explore all of them, and I know there's a lot of content this week, but I just wanted to give you an overview of one way that you might tackle the homework, just to give you an idea of the possibilities, okay? So the first thing we start with is, right, we go under instruments, and there's this really fantastic thing called a simpler, which is easier to use than a full sampler. And I can just drop it, and now I have a simpler. It says, where's the audio file? Like, what did you record that you want me to sample? I said, well, you know what? I have a wave file here that I got from those like really cool cicadas up at the park, and I dropped that in. Okay, so we're all set to go. I like to use this little expand button so that I can see the waveform. So this waveform has a lot of droney kind of qualities to it, right? So you might be, how can I use this to create something interesting? So we want to play through the choices that you have to work with on a simpler. I'm going to just come up here and double click to open up the piano roll, and I'm going to start by just dropping in a note, and I'll drag it out for quite a ways. Okay, so now we're going to just play that. Okay, and so there we are getting that crickety background. You see what's happening. We're just playing as long as, with classic mode, as long as we have a MIDI note held down, that's going to play. So what if I flipped that to something different? Let's stop and let's come back over here and let's build a more complicated combination. Okay, I'm going to drop a note in here, then I'm going to come down much lower and drop a note in, go even lower and drop a note in, and maybe I'll just kind of race my way back up with some random notes. I'm not really like staying to a certain scale or anything here, right? I'm just kind of dropping things in. Though if you want to stay to a scale, you can see where the notes are in any scale, any mode over here, okay? And you can kind of pick to stay with that. But I'm just going to say full, just show me the notes I have in there. So I'm coming down and then I'm kind of racing up, okay? So if I play that right now, oops, wrong one. This is the clip. Let me stop this other guy, sorry about that. Okay. It's a little quiet, but you can hear that we're mostly staying though in this like original part, right, of the sound form here. If we did one shot, right, each note is sending it to a different part of the waveform, and then we play from there on. So that's different. If we slice, let me hit a stop on this. Okay, if we slice, this is not a really terrific resolution. Let's down, okay? Right now it's slicing by transients. Let's say, you know what, I would like you to slice by regions. Transient is when it sees something jump up in sound. Well, these are big regions. I'm going to give it a lot of regions and sample down to a bunch, okay? And now if I play that same, you can see we're jumping through to different samples. Now this is just for this waveform, you know, kind of similar because of the drony nature of it. If I had gone to a waveform like here, where I've recorded myself saying the alphabet. Okay, let's open that waveform up. We could slice that and jump back and forth between much different sounding kind of shapes. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to add into this instrument a couple of things. So let me pick an audio effect. How about, well, spectrum's good to have, so I'm going to drop that on just so I can see the shape of the waveform. I think I'll put drive and color sounds good. Let's put oh, drum bus is pretty nice. I'm going to put a drum Chris comp in here. Okay. And then I'm going to go to the audio effects rack. Audio effects. Let's close this up. If we go to the utilities, there are the racks of things. And space is kind of cool. Let's do something with some delayed reverb, okay? I'll drop that in also, okay? And now let's see what we get from these same. Here's the spectrum. Here's one set of samples, one set of settings for these knobs. Here's a different one. We could even randomize. Take this out of the loop. Cut back how much reverb. If we flip to one shot. Well, that sounds a lot different, huh? Right? So we've got there's kind of a cool cricket sound. I like the crickets. They're probably insulted to be called crickets. So there I found one I liked. Maybe I want to kind of add some change to all of these choices of parameters as it's playing. So if you flip on this automation guy, I can record over top of what I've done. And maybe I'm going to pick up the filter. And now you see these little red dots because it's mimicking what I did. So I kind of like that, right? Thanks to the Cicadas at Nakamexon Park, we now have kind of completely personalized individual little backbeat that you can incorporate into your masterpieces, okay? So I hope you have fun playing with this week. There's a lot here. Don't get frustrated. Just give a shout out anytime something isn't working the way you want, and feel free to explore. Nothing can break, okay? Thanks a lot. We'll talk soon.